Philip, thank you for speaking to me and to the BBC. You've had quite the week. How are you?
It's like a weird numbness. I know that's a selfish point of view, but you come to a point where you just think, how much are you supposed to take? If all of those people that write all of that stuff, do they ever think that there's actually a person at the other end? And so here I am.
Are you feeling okay to do this? Are you feeling strong enough to do this interview?
Yeah, I have to.
Why? Why do you want to do this interview?
Because there is an innocent person here who didn't do anything wrong, who is vulnerable and probably feels like I do.
Yeah, a lot of my questions are going to be uncomfortable and, let's face it, intrusive, but you've chosen this opportunity to tell your side of the story. And there are questions that your viewers, all the people who supported you over the years, including your family, will want answers to. There's also, of course, lots of questions for ITV in all this. You mention this young man, and at the centre of recent events is a young man who, together with many others in the media we're not going to name, under Article 8 of the Human Rights Act, he has a right to privacy, and he's not here today to give his own account of events. When did you last speak to him?
As I engaged the lawyer for him. He needed independent support, and so that was the last time.
Is that a few weeks ago now?
Yeah, a couple of weeks.
Okay. When you say that you engage his lawyer, do you mean you're paying for the independent legal advice that he's getting? Okay. When did you first meet this young man in question? What were the circumstances?
I was invited by a friend of mine to go to a school, something I've done thousands of times. Whether it was immediately or sometime after, he said, will you follow him on Twitter because he's a fan? So I said, yeah, sure, no problem, which I did. And he probably came back saying thanks for the follow.
And he was, what, 15 at the time?
Yeah. I follow 11,300 people, and in all the time I've been on Twitter, there has never been any whiff of impropriety.
So he followed you on Twitter, you followed him back. Did you start having a sort of email exchange or direct message exchange of any kind?
Hardly at all. It was just all the way through, just on and off. And then he asked if he could visit the studios, work experience type of thing. I said, well, you come down and have a look for sure, which he did.
How old was he when he made that first, there's two stages there. How old was he when he first said to you, I'm interested in television? Was he 18 by that point?
19 then, I would think.
He was 19 by then. And then when he said, could I come and have work experience, he would have been older than 19.
Well, just a more or less about the same time, because I'd organised it.
And what did he ask you for? So he asked you for work experience and you said, sure, come and have a look?
Well, I've done it all my life. I'm best friends with the people who got me into television. And I've always believed in paying it forward. And so that was my, it's just didn't think about it, just did that.
When you look back now, if you were to look back at those messages now, is there any sense in which you were flirting with him?
No. I've been 41 years in television. Nothing like this before. No accusations. I mean, this is all accusations.
Which is why I want to put them to you. And so, if you're honest now, again, brutally honest, if you think back to that, because a lot's happened since then, it's a long time ago. But if you think back to those initial interactions, was there any element of it which was sexual?
No.
So there'd been a period of several years when you didn't meet him?
Yeah, I hadn't seen him.
And then when you met him in person, was there a little moment of sexual attraction then even?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, so to be absolutely clear, how old was this young man when you first had any kind of sexual contact with him?
20.
20. Because I mean, this is obviously the nub of it, and for the record, and to put speculation to rest, let me ask you directly, did you have any kind of sexual relationship or sex with him when he was underage?
No, God, no. That, I think that is, and in my statement, it says, consensual relationship, fully legal. I mean, that was approved by both sides. That's no.
And then when he got work experience at This Morning, so he's 20 years old at this stage. He's someone who's come in.
Well, that was, I think, by that stage at 20, he came in for a visit. We went out because he was going to be picked up. I was worried that he might be on his own. So I said, well, we'll wait, let's go have a bite to eat. It wasn't a meal, it was just waiting for someone to pick him up. So it was, don't worry, don't go out there on your own and be picked up.
So at that point, you weren't in any kind of a relationship?
No, God, no.
Right, okay. How long after that, was it that you had the beginnings of a sexual relationship with him?
He'd been working at the show for a few months. And we become mates. We were mates. We around the studios, you hang out together, you chat to each other, that sort of stuff. And then in my dressing room one day, something happened. Which, obviously I will regret forever, for him and for me, mostly him.